Alright, now that we got the templates working, I want to do a little bit of work with static files so that we can add some CSS onto our template and then, kind of show you how the static files process works. So the first step that we're going to do is we're going to go into our settings.py file, and all the way at the bottom, right underneath this static URL line, we're going to add a new line called static files dirs. And this is very similar to the templates dirs, os.path.join base dir templates. And remember, we made that template directory that we put that template in. We're going to do the same thing, os.path.join base dir. And remember, base dir is equivalent to the directory that manage.py lives in, the root level directory. So we're going to say base dir static. And we're going to save that. And again, like I said, I normally like to launch my server after I mess with any files in the in the settings, just because this does a simple syntax check. So alright, so it looks like everything's good. Just like we did with the templates directory up here, we need to make a directory for static. And in here, I'm going to make a directory called CSS because we also may want, for example, images in here. And I want my CSS and my images to be in separate directories. Just makes it a little more structured and organized. So I'm going to cd into CSS, and I want to do a new file, and I'm just going to call this style.css. Let's create that, yes. And let's see here, we need to do a little bit of styling here. So I'm going to say body, we'll say font family is going to be Verdana, sans serif. Actually, there we go, tab it out so it looks a little better, it's a little easier to read. Font family is Verdana and sans serif. And then I want the font size to be, we'll just call it 0.8 Next up, the header, nav section, article, and footer. And I just pretty much want to put a border around these. It's not going to be pretty, but 1 pixel solid black we'll call it, and we'll give them a margin of 5 pixels and a padding of 5 pixels. And then the nav URL, so inside the nav section, all the UL elements, I want them to have a margin of 0 and a padding of 0. And then in the nav ULLIs, I want these to have a display of inline and a margin of 5 pixels. And you probably noticed as I was doing this, I made a mistake because this margin needs pixels and this padding needs pixels. Alright, I'm definitely not a big CSS guru, so. Alright, so there are our style.css files done. Now the next thing we need to do is to include that in our template. And the way we're going to do that is we need to open up, well, let's run our server again. Python manage.py run server. Let's see what this looks like. Let's see, localhost 8000. Oh, yep, because I need to tell it where to go. Home. There we go. So it looks like that. So now let's open up our home.html file, which I already had open in in Notepad++, but if you look up here, here's where it was, the tutorial templates home.html. And in here, the very first line I want is I want to say load static. Alright, this curly brace %, that's your template's dynamic syntax for Django. So any type of Django specific template tags, and I'll do this, template tags Django. I just googled template tags Django and you can see all the information they have. They have all sorts of different template tags. You can do for loops, if statements, all that within Django's templates. And that makes it really cool, really powerful. So we did load static, and I want to come down here, and inside of the head, the very last line in the header section, I want to say, I want to do a link href equals, and normally you would put in here the link to the static file. Relationship is style sheet. Relationship equals style sheet. Just an E there, but see right here, now I'm going to insert some Django template code, and I'm going to say this is going to be a static file, which all this says is Django go into the static files directories that I've told you to look in. Go into your CSS directory and grab me the style.css file. Alright, so let's see if this works. Run the server again. Let's come over here to our local host. Let's refresh that. And now we have some CSS styling. So now you've seen how to make a template and how to link your views to your templates. And you've also seen how to insert static files such as images or CSS files into your templates.